We'll get to special counsel John Durham's report about the Justice Department's handling of the 2016 Russia probe in just a minute. But first, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reaffirmed that June 1st is the deadline for possible default. This as President Biden says he'll meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy about the debt ceiling Tuesday. A meeting between the president and congressional leaders was originally scheduled for last Friday, but was postponed. Staff-level talks did continue over the weekend, and Biden has expressed hope that an agreement can be reached to avoid default, but McCarthy says time is running out to reach a deal.
This is where we were in February. We were talking, we'd be in a good place, but we're only a couple weeks away. And if you look at the timeline to pass something in the House and pass something in the Senate, you've got to have something done by this weekend, and we are nowhere near any of that. And so
for more on this, CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us now. Nikole, I'll get to the debt ceiling in a minute, but let's get to this news from special counsel John Durham. He's completed a report on possible government misconduct in that Trump-Russia inquiry. What conclusion did he reach?
Well, basically what he found is that there were some missteps with respect to the investigation when it was initially launched. This was something that has been of great concern, especially by congressional Republicans who have suggested that there may be bias within the FBI, and so they feel that this further fuels those speculations. But basically, you know, this was an investigation at the start of the former president's initial campaign for president back in 2016, and it was an investigation to determine whether or not there was any Russian collusion within the Trump campaign, if there was any coordination or foreign influence. And so through the course of that investigation, this special counsel investigation by John Durham, in essence, was investigating the investigators who conducted that report. And what it suggested was that there may have been bias within the FBI, and that the way in which that it handled this investigation wasn't necessarily conducted in the best way possible. That being said, the FBI has responded by saying that it has taken a number of corrective reforms since this probe was opened up many years ago, but that is still not satisfying a lot of lawmakers here on Capitol Hill, particularly congressional Republicans who are now calling on the special counsel to testify.
Yeah, and Jim Jordan is among them, asking him to testify next week, he says. Nikole, let's switch gears a little bit to the debt ceiling. What's the latest, just quickly, on where these negotiations stand?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, I think. When talking to all sides, it seems like they are still in different corners. And talking to Speaker McCarthy, he has suggested that there really hasn't been much movement with respect to these talks. And as you heard him say in that soundbite, really a deal needs to be done this week in order for any type of agreement to be cleared by both chambers. We know the Senate is expected to recess later this week. The House is out after next week, and so it really doesn't leave much time to hammer anything out. That being said, I did talk to Minority Leader Mitch McConnell earlier, who reaffirmed that he does expect the leaders to meet tomorrow, but he wouldn't say if he shares McCarthy's view about whether or not there hasn't been any movement. As we know, there have been staff-level discussions for a number of days now, and so if they are not able to present something that all sides can agree upon tomorrow, it could spell trouble as we near this X date.
Yeah, the clock certainly ticking. Nikole Killion on Capitol Hill tonight. Thank you very much. And for more on all of this, let's turn to Nancy Cordes and Fin Gómez, who join us now on set. Nancy is CBS News chief White House correspondent, and Fin is CBS News political director. So, Nancy, let's start with you. Nikole kind of laid out that timeline. Another, wrench in that system is that President Biden is leaving for Japan this week. How is the White House viewing these negotiations? Do they even see them as negotiations?
They do see them as negotiations. I think there's no way to sugarcoat it at this point. They are negotiating over spending caps, but they actually think it's going pretty well. They're not as doom and gloom as Speaker McCarthy is right now. That may be a little bit of good cop, bad cop, but they feel like the talks have been constructive. They feel that they are making progress. It doesn't mean that they'll necessarily get a deal on everything that they're talking about by the end of the week. They don't feel confident about that necessarily, but they do think that things are heading heading in the right direction, because they have to head in the right direction, because default is staring Congress and the White House in the face. And you've already had White House officials, the president, Leader McConnell all say default is not a possibility. So they say this is going to have to get done one way or the other, and they believe that they're on track to do that right now.
Janet Yellen essentially sending another letter to McCarthy saying, just a reminder, June 1st is what we're aiming for. Another policy item that the White House is dealing with, obviously, is the end of Title 42, which we covered a lot last week. It ended last week. They were expecting a huge increase in migrations across the border, not as many as expected, but still pretty high. The White House is still facing a lot of criticism, of course, over these really crowded detention facilities. I know our correspondents have been reporting on them. How is the White House kind of facing this criticism, and what do they make of these numbers?
Well, they are obviously arguing that things could have been even worse if they hadn't planned so carefully for this moment, if they hadn't signposted to migrants, don't come to the border. We're changing our immigration policies. You will face a stiff penalty if you try to apply in person for asylum, when there are other avenues to do that at this point. But they also acknowledge this problem is nowhere near over. They say that the structural situation that has already been in place that has led so many people to escape their home countries to come to the U.S., that hasn't changed. But what has changed, they say, is the fact that Mexico and Guatemala surged law enforcement to their borders, and they believe that that is helping to stem the flow of migrants to this country as well.
And Finn, obviously, this is an issue where Republicans are eager to go after the Biden administration on. We've seen that again and again in campaigns. Over the weekend, however, we saw kind of this real showdown between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis in the Republican primary, or expected to be in the Republican primary. Let's play a little bit about what Ron DeSantis had to say with some not so subtle swipes at Trump.
In Florida, we really showed what it takes to not just win big, and then deliver big. And ultimately, when you're doing all this, what results are you producing for people? That's really what matters. You can sit there and talk about cable news, social media, all these other things that people are fixated on. And for me, it's like, okay, what's that true north? You obviously got to win, otherwise you don't get a ticket to the dance.
All right, so he's saying that Republicans need to win. This is clearly a reference to the former president, but he's not willing to attack him directly, and he's also not willing, at least, to say publicly that Trump lost the election. What's going on with them?
Yeah, but I think some of his supporters would say this is the most contrast he's offered. He's been receiving criticism from not only internally but externally from Republicans, saying, if what's the holdup? Trump has been attacking him for weeks, for months. But because, now that he's in Iowa, let's talk about Iowa specifically. It's supposed to be this dueling events. Of course, that was changed at the last minute because the Trump campaign canceled the event in Des Moines due to a tornado watch. DeSantis did have his events both on the west side of Iowa and also on the east side. And also they did an unscheduled stop in Des Moines, specifically, according to those in DeSantis' world, to sort of mock the former president, for not showing up in Iowa. And I think it was a taste and a precursor of what's to come in a few weeks, when we do expect the Florida governor to enter into the race officially. Today, CBS News can confirm via Aaron Navarro that his headquarters in Tallahassee will be moving from his location that was at the state GOP headquarters. It's now going to be moving, and because of that move, it's more than $5,000 more, which automatically triggers an FEC notification that he has to make. And he has to declare his candidacy. He has to officially register within the next 15 days from now. So we do expect him to formally announce, jump into the race in the next couple weeks.
This is how we read the tea leaves, looking at rental agreements and moving boxes. Right. So, Finn, we will keep track of all of that. We also know that his communications, his press secretary has moved from his official office to his political side.
You reported that, yeah.
A lot of moves being made on this front. Thank you both, Nancy and Finn, for being here, covering it all for us.